The Bills got some help yesterday with the Texans beating the Broncos. Browns and Steelers both lose as well to fall to 7-5. I've kind of maintained with where the Bills are, the division is still the best route to the playoffs, but it wouldn't be a bad thing if the wild card becomes an option also.
First way the Bills won on the bye week was that we started getting healthy, and teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars and Trevor Lawrence, man, they got banged up. And it wasn't just Trevor Lawrence. Christian Kirk, one of their top receivers, goes down with an apparent groin injury. And it wasn't just the Jacksonville Jaguars who are ahead of the Bills in this playoff picture. The Indianapolis Colts are too. And Jonathan Taylor goes down again with a UCL tear in his thumb. It's Zach Moss time again with the Indianapolis Colts. Another team ahead of the Bills in the playoff picture is Tank Dell, who's been tearing things up as a rookie here. He is officially out for the season with an ankle injury. Just like Chris Brown said, the easiest way for the Bills to get into the playoffs is by winning the AFC East. And we can see the Miami Dolphins are now currently at number 1 in the AFC. They had their own injury with Jalen Phillips going down, who is on fire this year with tearing his Achilles. Now Mark Andrew, and a great tight end for Lamar Jackson, goes down. He is out for the season. The Kansas City Chiefs this past week on the Bills bye week lost to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers are 6-6. They are really not a great team. Kansas City Chiefs offense has really struggled all season long. It's really been their defense that's been carrying them. The lack of continuity offensively for Patrick Mahomes has definitely thrown a wrench into things. Travis Kelce is really his only true weapon. Relying on a rookie Rashawn Rice and some other weapons is just not enough for Patrick Mahomes to get the job done. The proof is there that they lost to the Green Bay Packers. The Bills are definitely a better team than the Green Bay Packers. We already mentioned the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence with that ankle injury, sprained ankle. I mean, they could easily lose some games, as well as Christian Kirk being down. That's going to be a tough task. The Pittsburgh Steelers, in my previous video, we discussed it. Kenny Pickett is hurt. They just fired their offensive coordinator, and they didn't really have necessarily another offensive coordinator on that team like we did with Joe Brady. The Indianapolis Colts, they're down to Gardner Minshew. They lost Jonathan Taylor. And we could see the Indianapolis Colts hardly beat the Tennessee Titans with a backup quarterback, Will Levis, 31-28, actually in overtime. The 4-8 Tennessee Titans have been really horrible this year, and I know they still have Derrick Henry, they have DeAndre Hopkins. Will Levis and DeAndre Hopkins getting a little heated argument on the sidelines here too, which is kind of interesting to see. The Tennessee Titans have just been dismal this year, and to have the Indianapolis Colts almost lose to them in overtime, the Browns losing Deshaun Watson, not having Nick Chubb, dealing with a lot of their own injuries, Joe Flacco being forced to start. Cleveland Browns are just not a great team, and for them to be ahead of the Bills in this playoff picture is absolutely mind-blowing. We already mentioned Tank Dell going down for CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans. We could see the Bills remain in the 10th seed in the AFC, even with us having the same record as the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals definitely won with Browning yesterday, but again, they do not have Joe Burrow. A lot of people are assuming the Bills should be the 11th seed, but it really boils down to the conference record, and we could see the Bills right now are currently 3-5 in the AFC, and when we go down here to the Cincinnati Bengals, even though we have the same record, they are 2-6 in the AFC. Thus, that tiebreaker has the Bills ahead of the Bengals. This is already starting to prove to you how the Bills can actually get into the AFC playoff picture by having a good enough conference wins. The second way the Bills won week 13 during our bye week were all the teams that were ahead of us that actually lost. Pittsburgh Steelers losing to the Arizona Cardinals. Unfortunately, again, the Indianapolis Colts beating the Tennessee Titans, but hardly in overtime, just proves that they're really not that great of a team. Now, another thing that actually hurts the Buffalo Bills was the fact that Houston beat the Denver Broncos. And the reason for that being is that the Jacksonville Jaguars lost. And if the Houston Texans are able to win that division, the Bills will ultimately have to go against the Jacksonville Jaguars, who we lost lost to in London and actually fight for one of those wild card spots, which would likely have the Jaguars ahead of the Buffalo Bills since we lost to them. Keep in mind, the Jaguars are currently 8-4, where the Buffalo Bills are 6-6. So we would have to get literally a better record than the Jaguars, which means the Bills will have to overcome a 2-game deficit and then win an additional game to have a better record. The Miami Dolphins beating the Washington Commanders 45-15. But again, they just fired their defensive coordinator. We also crushed the Washington Commanders. That was kind of a given that the Miami Dolphins were going to win that game. Cleveland Browns losing to the LA Rams 36-19. They got crushed. I mean, the Browns really are not that good of a team. As I mentioned in previous videos, a lot of these teams are playing one another, so these losses really are helping the Bills, and we could see Cincinnati beating the Jacksonville Jaguars. But again, we have a better conference record than the Bengals, which means that we could tie them and still be ahead of them in the playoff race. And then rookie CJ Stroud, sticking with the easiest roadmap to the playoffs for the Buffalo Bills is by winning the AFC East. And we could see the Miami Dolphins and their remaining schedule. Now, Miami is 9-3. The Bills are 6-6. But again, all we have to do is have the same record as them and then beat them in Week 18. And that would solidify our spot in winning the division once again. We could see the teams that they have to play: the Tennessee Titans, the New York Jets, the Dallas Cowboys, the Baltimore Ravens, and also the Buffalo Bills. Now, there are 5 games left in the season, which is a quarter of the season, actually a little bit more than a quarter of the year still left to play. Many fans declaring things and saying that this playoff picture is finalized. It is far from finalized, being that we still have a quarter of the season left to play. And I could see the Miami Dolphins easily losing 3 or more of their final 5 games, and particularly to the Buffalo Bills in Week 18, to the Baltimore Ravens, to the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, the New York Jets and that ferocious defense, you really never know. And you could easily see Derrick Henry, who did get banged up, but is said to be okay after going into concussion protocol. One way to keep Tua and Tyreek Hill on the sidelines is by running the football. That parity in the NFL is real. You really never know. Tennessee might be able to squeak out a win against the Miami Dolphins. But regardless of Tennessee, regardless of the New York Jets, if the Buffalo Bills win out, if we go 5-0, and the Miami Dolphins lose to the Dallas Cowboys, lose to the Baltimore Ravens, and then lose to us, the Buffalo Bills will solidify themselves as the AFC East champions. And Sean McDermott is 6-0 coming off the bye week, having a lot of time to prepare, and I think the Buffalo Bills are definitely going to be going through their entire team with a fine-tooth comb, looking at the things that have worked, the things that haven't worked, and we are clearly going to improve. It's not just that we've gotten healthier. It's not just that the teams ahead of us in the playoff picture have lost. The Buffalo Bills will surely improve upon themselves, actually having time to digest what's worked, what hasn't worked, and really start to implement those things defensively as well as offensively. The Bills are 2-2 in Arrowhead under Sean McDermott, and again, 6-0 coming off a bye week. They just lost to the Green Bay Packers. The Buffalo Bills are fully capable of beating Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in 2023. And the Dallas Cowboys have to come to Buffalo. They're going to be leaving warm Texas and coming to chilly Buffalo. That is a huge advantage for the Buffalo Bills, who have only lost 2 games at home so far this season. Being 5-2 at home is definitely a good sign to see. Plus, the Dallas Cowboys' strength of schedule this year has really been in their favor, beating, I believe, only one team above 500 record this season. Similar to the Miami Dolphins, where you have to go back to 2021 for them to beat a team above a 500 record, the Buffalo Bills should be in good shape against the Dallas Cowboys. The LA Chargers at 5-7 have really struggled this year with Justin Herbert, even Austin Eckler dropping some passes. They are just really not playing like themselves. Boza being hurt and being out. Yeah, they have Khalil Mack, but still, they are not playing with a full deck. And the Bills have the New England Patriots, who got shut out this week, losing 0-6 against the LA Chargers, who the Buffalo Bills will have to play. LA Chargers only beat the Patriots 6-0. Let that sink in. These should easily be wins for Bills Mafia. The final week in Miami, the Buffalo Bills will be playing a team that they already beat so far this season, a team that Josh Allen has statistically really done well against, and a team that travels very well to Miami, considering all the snowbirds living down there in the winter. I really believe the Miami Dolphins could have a harder remaining schedule than the Buffalo Bills, and we've seen it. Injuries happen. Things occur. You never know. I mean, that's one thing that was a problem with Tua, was the concussions last year and the injuries that he's had. Going against that New York Jets team, we don't know. Maybe they lose another Jalen Phillips type player on that defense. And the Buffalo Bills have a lot of advantages going forward here, coming off a bye week, going against Patrick Mahomes, having some time to prepare against them is absolutely huge. And then getting the Dallas Cowboys here in Buffalo, them leaving that warm weather, coming to chilly Buffalo is absolutely dynamic. The LA Chargers really not playing so well, only beating the New England Patriots 6-0. And then the New England Patriots we play, they don't even have a starting quarterback. Between Mac Jones and Zappy, we really don't know. And Ramondre Stevenson also got banged up. And again, this final week, week 18 versus the Miami Dolphins, man, are you kidding me? If this season boils down to that final week, Bills Mafia, Josh Allen, and everybody is going to ball out. And I know we're all awaiting the news on Von Miller as to whether he's going to be suspended or not. And apparently, if he does get actually suspended by the NFL, the Buffalo Bills could ultimately void his contract and any guaranteed money, including next year's $17 million contract. And I think if he does get suspended, the Buffalo Bills will be just fine with Leonard Floyd, AJ Epinesa, Greg Rousseau. Von Miller doesn't even have a sack so far in 2023, and the Bills are a top 5 sacking defensive line. It just goes to show you how dynamic this team actually is. The Bills staying in the 10th seed in the AFC picture at first glance makes you think, oh, well, this bye week really didn't do much, but we've gotten healthier. Teams ahead of us have actually lost, which has cut the amount of games that they're beating us by in this playoff picture. And then also the remaining schedule for Bills Mafia. I truly believe it's totally possible for the Bills to win out. But what do you guys think? Do you think we won or lost this bye week? Do you still have faith in the Buffalo Bills in this playoff race? And again, I think the easiest way is to win the AFC East, but you really never know. Considering everything that's going on right now, that AFC playoff picture, it's really shaping up for the Buffalo Bills to be a wild card team. But I appreciate you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this video, hit like. That will signal to me to keep making videos just like this. Really do appreciate you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe for future content. I'll be live during the game. Also, check the link in the description for the BNC Buffalo Chicken Wing merch. We have t-shirts, long sleeve, hoodies, all different colors too. Free shipping as well. But again, you guys are all freaking so awesome. I really believe the playoffs are still alive. And go Bills.